Hello, class. Thank you all for coming today. We're going to learn about something really interesting today involving pop music. Who here listens to pop music? Who's a fan of pop music by hands? Who here is a fan of Carly Rae Jepsen? The pop artist Carly Rae Jepsen, best known for Call Me Maybe. See, a lot of casual fans of Jepsen will stop at Call Me Maybe because that was a catchy song, it's a funny song, it has a unique thematic premise, the idea of a girl putting herself out there, and if you listen to the lyrics, then being rejected. It's actually kind of a unique premise for a pop song. So Jepsen was dismissed for the beginning of her career as kind of a trifle until she put out an album called Emotion. Now this is how I came across Carly Rae Jepsen, was Emotion. Now, I actually started listening to Emotion every day in the car on the way to work in 2016. And I noticed something, and you'll notice it too soon, but for now it'll sound crazy, which is I noticed that the album seemed to be a concept album. It seemed as though all of the songs only covered an actually very tightly specific group of themes and ideas, sometimes repeating the same words, phrases, or situations, duplicating them more directly than any other pop artist I'd heard. And I thought, Emotion's a concept album. But it wasn't a concept album. I couldn't just put that out there on Medium and act like a straight guy can tell the world about Carly Rae Jepsen. I had to go a little deeper. I went in and I listened to her previous album, which was called Kiss. And it also only covered the same three themes. So I went back to her first album, Tug of War. And it also only covered the same three themes. And again, I was hearing repeating words: moon, window, door, light. The concept of vertical movement, getting high or falling. Now again, this seems a little more specific. It would be weird if you keep noticing that the word door appears on songs where there would be no reason to feature door imagery or window imagery. The idea of waking up from bed or a dream, and I went, wait a minute, this is huge. A pop artist who only tells one story again and again and again, that would be like if Beyonce only sang songs about being bootylicious. That would be fucking bizarre. Beyonce has all types of songs. Most pop artists have all types of songs. And I knew I had to fucking tell the world. I was so excited. I thought this will get people interested. If it's interesting me, it'll connect to people. The thing is, this is also silly, funny, and weird. It's hard to explain. It's odd. It doesn't feel real unless you engage with it. It feels like pareidolia. It feels like I've gone crazy or I'm making it up. I'm seeing something that actually isn't that significant, or it's always like that in pop. Okay, that's wrong. And I knew I had to explain how that was wrong. So I wrote this giant fucking document because I wanted to prove it was real. I couldn't be alone in it. That would be like the one guy who knew aliens had taken over the earth. I felt like a conspiracy theorist. The problem with this document, which was 158 pages long and analyzed piece by piece every single Carly Rae Jepsen song released up until that point. The problem with this document is me. Now, I featured myself in it because I thought this is pretty funny. Like, it's a funny thing to have found a secret pattern. Like, why not? If I narrate it and I show I know it's funny, that'll make people more willing to engage with it, right? Because I'm in on it with you. Foolish, because my name has certain associations with it. Now, there are good associations like tall and creative, and there are bad associations like the fact that I am the worst. That allows people to use ad hominems to attack me instead of engaging with the work. In fact, pretty much everyone who criticized the pattern when it came out made it about me, because you can't engage with the pattern without acknowledging that it is real. Now, there were also other problems with this document. It was a long document, it was annoying to read, and it was too big. Also, at the beginning of it, I confused a saxophone for a bagpipe, and that made gay Twitter furious. Now, the other aspect of this that allowed people to distract from what I was saying, the fantastic, wonderful, spiralingly beautiful creative achievement Jepsen has made here, is that they made it about her. They said, I'm obsessed with her. I should clarify, I know almost nothing about the real life of Carly Rae Jepsen. I have watched one interview with her. One. Everything we're going to do here in this class is about the music. Now, don't get me wrong. When I put this out, it did go minorly viral. The website with the fucking theory on it, 215,000 views. If you go to some of Carly Rae Jepsen's earliest songs, you can find people in the comments going, this fits the pattern, because the pattern is real. And at the time, in my old life, before I was a teacher, I was a hotshot screenwriter. So people have potentially shown this to Carly Rae Jepsen. We have friends in common. So even knowing that this pattern exists, right? Even it being acknowledged as a thing, in the last 8 years since I put this out, Carly Rae Jepsen has released 4 albums and several singles. And they all fucking fit the pattern. How do you include Moon on 4 different songs on a single album? How do you put the fucking moon on the cover of your album after there's an 158-page long document that says you're obsessed with the moon? The truth is, it wasn't enough because the pattern continued. Now, I think the pattern creates great music. I love the music of Carly Rae Jepsen. I think she's a really good, really unique pop artist. I love that she experiments. I did make one other mistake. I said all of the songs from Carly Rae Jepsen fit this pattern. That is not true. There are like 10 of something like 250 released songs that don't, which were pointed to as proof that the other 240 didn't. So we're going to change that a little. We're going to say the overwhelming majority of her songs fit this pattern. Now, once I explain it to you, if there is still resistance to the idea that this is a real thing, you are not misinformed. You don't have a different opinion. You are deaf. There is no way you can miss the pattern once you see it. It is obvious. It is irrefutable, and it is self-evident. Now, does Carly know? Carly Rae Jepsen does not write all of her own music. She's often credited as a songwriter on her songs. But she does choose the songs that she sings. The fact that the Full House theme, which she recorded for Fuller House, manages to fit the fucking pattern is bizarre. I don't know how to explain it, and it is one of the most dopamine-releasing, pleasurable pursuits of my adult life. Every time she releases a new album, I have this incredible euphoric moment where I get to listen to the first song, and she's like, ever since you left me, I'm stuck on you forever. I look out my window and I'm lifted high into the sky. It's incredible. She never misses. And it's not subtle. That's the most important thing to know about the pattern. Once you are aware of it, it's going to jump right out at you like a Blumhouse jump scare, like a digital jump scare, like bah! So does Carly know? I don't fucking know. That isn't what this is about because it's not about her, right? Now, at one point, not too long ago, the Jet Suite X airport coming in from Las Vegas, I saw Carly Rae Jepsen sitting right there alone. And I had a moment where I thought, this is the chance. But then I remembered something important. I am an LOM, right? And she is a PSFC. I am a large, odd man, and she is a physically small female celebrity. The last thing this woman wants to happen in an airport is this guy walking up to her going, hey, Carly. But you guys have found yourselves in a different situation. Today, we're going to learn the acts, we're going to learn the themes, we're going to discuss the leitmotifs, because at the end of the day, in 2015, I was right about Disney Star Wars. In 2012, I was right about Man of Steel. I've been wrong about many other things and decisions I've made in my life, but I'm also right about Carly Rae Jepsen. So let's get into it. Do we have any questions so far? The easiest way to describe the pattern within Carly Rae Jepsen's music is to talk about what she doesn't sing about. People will often say, all female pop stars sing about love, dating, boys, rejection, longing, temptation. These aren't crazy themes to sing about, right? These are normal themes. Well, let's try something here. Let's try a little thought experiment. Let's flip it on them for a second. We're going to name some iconic pop hits by female pop artists from the last, let's say, 50 years. Can anyone think of a female pop song sung by a pop star?
I Kissed a Girl.
I Kissed a Girl. I Kissed a Girl is a fun, flirtatious song about kissing a girl even though you're straight, but you liked it a little even though you got a boyfriend. Carly Rae Jepsen has 0 songs about being tempted by or attracted to other women. Let's name another song.
One More Time.
One More Time is about wanting to fuck the person who you broke up with one last time, because that will give you power and it will make you feel like the relationship is completed and over. Carly Rae Jepsen has 0 songs about being over someone. Interesting. 0 to the left. Nothing like that. No empowering songs at all. In fact, let's do 2 more.
Vogue.
Vogue. Vogue's about having fun and dancing. Strike a pose. Vogue. Carly Rae Jepsen has no songs about dancing. In fact, if dancing is mentioned on her music, it is only in reference to the idea that she doesn't actually want to dance or party because she's only focused on him. We'll get to him in a minute. Can we get one more?
Like a Virgin?
Like a Virgin is about getting fucked so good. Carly Rae Jepsen has 0 songs about getting laid, to the exclusion of I Want You in My Room, and I Want You in My Room is a song in which Carly Rae Jepsen begs for sex. So what's going on here? If there's no Teenage Dream, if there's no Taylor Swift's love story, if there's no Material Girl, if there's no Bootylicious, if there's no All My Women Who Independent, if none of these things exist, if there's no Umbrella, how is it possible she has avoided singing about all these things? Well, it's because she only sings about 7 things. These themes show up on all, pardon me, the vast majority of Carly Rae Jepsen's songs. Temptation. The idea of wanting something you can't have, specifically a boy who for some reason is forbidden. Obsession, the idea of not being able to let go of a romantic relationship, to a degree that many Carly Rae Jepsen lyrics, if you sing them in a scary voice, sound scary. Limerence. Limerence, the idea of the giddy rush of the beginning of a relationship, the idea that everything in your life will be changed by your new relationship. Even though you don't know the person that well yet. You may have heard a song about limerence called Call Me Maybe. Secrets, the idea that a relationship or a feeling must be kept secret for some reason. Oftentimes, it's not articulated why, but if people knew this secret, they would judge him or her. Kind of a weird theme to show up really regularly. Escape, the idea that the bad situation they are in, specifically he is in, can be escaped by a rendezvous with her. Her love will bring him out of the bad situation and heal them both. Rejection. Rejection is actually a huge theme in Carly Rae Jepsen's music. And when I say huge, I mean huge. Limerence, temptation, and rejection are like the Holy Trinity, except for they backbone all the others. If you are tempted by something, you want to keep it secret. If you're obsessed with something, oftentimes that thing rejects you. You might be obsessed because you're in a state of limerence. You want to escape with the person, but the relationship has to be kept secret and end in rejection. Like on the song Run Away With Me, or 3 dozen other Carly Rae Jepsen songs. We haven't gotten to the weird part yet because the last one is Misery and Longing. Carly has no songs about being over someone. In fact, she has a multitude of songs about never getting over someone. In fact, the words never over appear on several Carly Rae Jepsen songs. She even sneaks them in ways that don't make sense. Like on The Loneliest Time, she says, I quit smoking all those cigarettes, but I'm never getting over it. It's a strange lyric, just like when she calls herself a room without a door on Here Without You. So those are the 7 themes, right? And they do seem to kind of tell a story a little bit, right? I mean, you can put something together out of those. It's going to get so crazy. Like, this is the beginning of it. Okay, it's
I thought it was crazy already.
no, it's going to go way more nuts. Like, this is going to be worth being here for. Now, again, I want to specify I don't know Carly Rae Jepsen. I don't know anything about her life. But if you take these themes and you look at the ways they show up on her songs, you can actually see that certain ones overlap. Some songs contain all of these themes, But the ones that overlap are usually pretty common, and that's when we get to the act structure. Each of Carly Rae Jepsen's songs fits into one of 3 acts in a story. Now, I'm not saying Carly's intentionally telling this story. However, once you see how the songs work, I think you'll agree that it does kind of feel like a story because Carly Rae Jepsen only sings 3 types of songs. The first act, the giddy rush. Carly's just met someone, and this is crazy, but she feels completely different from how she felt before. In fact, she was maybe in a bad or dark place, lost or searching, alone or sad, in a world that didn't understand her and she didn't like. Sometimes she brings up that she has trouble connecting to other people, but usually it's more ambiguous. Carly was really unhappy, but now that he's appeared, everything has changed. Most of Carly Rae Jepsen's songs are in the second person, sung to someone, or rather than about someone, or telling a story. She has very few storytelling songs. There are only like 4 or 5. Think of that against Taylor Swift, who has so many storytelling songs, it's practically half of her career. Carly Rae Jepsen does a different thing, but in the first act, she's met someone, she's excited, she's getting high. The idea of vertical movement upward is often in these songs, either getting high, flying, eyes opening, specifically waking up from a dream. Dreams, the word dream specifically is going to show up again and again and again and again and again across Carly's music, as is imagery of open your eyes or waking up. However, often in Act 1 songs, there's kind of a funny little specific detail that's unique to a Carly Rae Jepsen, I Just Met You and I'm So Excited song, which is that there's something wrong. Oftentimes what this wrong thing is not directly verbalized. However, a lot of these songs make it really clear that they're not together. She's interested in it. She's pitching it. We can be together and it'll change everything, and I feel so strongly. If you'll just say these things, the idea of not saying something or something being spoken only with someone's eyes often shows up in these songs. However, on a couple of songs, she specifically uses the word hesitating or hesitation, as in, why is he not saying yes to her? Why are you not mine? She describes intense euphoric feelings, limerence, the idea that her world will be transformed by him and she will rescue him. We'll get more into that in Act 2. But something's wrong. Something's off in a lot of these songs. Carly often describes being too much. She wants to cut to the feeling. She wants to skip the hard part of a relationship and go directly to the intense, visceral emotions that she is feeling. Why isn't he feeling them back? Act 2. This is the escape fantasy. Some of Carly's best songs live in this space. It's a fantasy of if we could just be together, if you just be alone with me, if you just drive me somewhere in your car, we could be up all night. The idea of staying up all night, not being able to sleep, or tossing and turning in a bed, specifically the word bed, be on the lookout for. Again, you're starting to see this is a little more weirdly specific than you were at first perhaps imagining. Okay, in this, it is always a pitch. It never really happened. Songs like Run Away With Me position Carly as begging her male love interest to leave, escape. He is often said to be in a bad situation. Sometimes, like on the song This Kiss, it is specifically said that he has a girlfriend. He is also, and it kind of recontextualizes the other ones when you hear that, because that starts to sound like the missing piece of why he did not call her back in Call Me Maybe. If you'll recall, the middle of Call Me Maybe is, you took your time with the call, I took no time with the fall, downward movement, you gave me nothing at all, but still, you're in my way. It's actually kind of a strange lyric for the song Call Me Maybe. The idea that the guy not only didn't call her, but wasn't interested in her. Well, that idea is going to get a lot stranger when you start going into the music yourself, because you're going to see that again and again. In Want You in My Room, which I described earlier as Carly Rae Jepsen begging for sex, the chorus is, don't go, no, the night's not over. I just want to get a little bit closer. The entire song is phrased as a pitch. She's almost never actually fucking this guy. If they spent a night together, spending the night together, specifically that phrasing, is like a big romantic goal of hers. It's like the equivalent of getting married, which never comes up. It's a romantic victory at a scale that Carly couldn't have even imagined, because this guy is often phrased as being in a bad or negative headspace that she will save him from. The idea of her being a light or being guided upwards by light reappears across fucking 8 albums. Sorry, reappears across 8 albums. It's a very unique theme. You might recall in the Full House theme, when you're lost out there and you're all alone, a light is waiting to carry you home. What the fuck? That's in so many of her songs. Also the idea of walking under streetlights while you're staying up all night. In fact, she even talks on Fever about stealing a guy's bike and going to his house while he's not there. When Carly gives details, they are almost always haunting or bizarre. On the song Beach House, she talks about men she's dated, and one of them says he wants to harvest her organs. This is a Carly Rae Jepsen song. Okay, let's move on to Carly Rae Jepsen fucking rules. Well, hold on, hold questions. Act 3. So you'd say so far, right? So far, I want to be with you, but maybe you're not available. But I want to be with you so bad. If you would just say yes to me, everything will be perfect and we can save each other and bring each other high to the stars or even the moon. Okay, well, what's the logical conclusion of that? We were never really together. You said we're just friends. I said I love you, and it alienated you. You stopped speaking to me. We are now separated by physical distance or geography, oftentimes articulated by naming a city or saying that there was a plane ride involved. Wondering where he is and if he remembers her even. Even while re-articulating, Jepsen goes on and on that she will never get over it. He is the one. She will never forget him, and she will always be waiting. The word friend shows up really often here. That he was a friend, and then he friend-zoned her. A female pop artist doesn't generally have more than 10 songs about being told she's just a friend. Carly Rae Jepsen does. It's important that she also never recovers. There is never a moment of romantic triumph within Carly Rae Jepsen's music. If there is, it's in Act 1. It's not in Act 3. Even in Surrender My Heart, off the second most recent album, she is saying, I've been hurt so many times, and I'm here again to take love and receive, and you're the special one, and I'll risk everything for you, even though I'm not sure you like me. But it actually goes a lot deeper than that, because this is still abstract. Within Carly's music, there are a bunch of repeating themes. But there's also sub-themes that are way more direct and way harder to miss. I've already discussed some of them, but before we go on, do we have questions from the class? Calvin.
What is the song with the organ harvesting? Which one is that?
That's called Beach House. Beach House is it in theory would be a pattern breaking song, but it unfortunately isn't because it includes pattern words. Several of the songs that should be pattern breaking will randomly figure a window or a door or a light into the lyrics. And that's when you really it starts getting very strange, because you'll get kind of deep into a song and be like, the theory's not real. And then she'll be like, and I knocked on your door and I had to climb through the window and you don't love me. And it's like, wait a minute. Oftentimes the second verse is where big reveals happen. Beach House is a unique song because it's one of Carly's funny songs. Carly has a unique sense of humor that pops out on her music and is often a little edgier than you'd expect. My favorite of these being the radio-only edit of I Really Like You, when she says, I need to tell you something, I'm pregnant. And then drops the song fully out and then says, just kidding, and goes right back into it. But who would hate to hear that you were pregnant? A guy you're not dating. So let's get into the specifics here. Being in a bad or dark place before she met her lover. On Higher, which is again a song called Higher, Carly begins the song by saying, I was lost, alone and searching. The idea of being lost and alone before she met him reoccurs on so many fucking Act 1 songs you won't believe it. Being stuck in her head or trapped by emotions. The idea of being too much, or specifically even the words, in my head, in your head. The idea that people are stuck within a box of emotions or a situation that's emotionally uncomfortable for them. Friends upgrading to lovers. They were just platonic, but Carly wants more. Lovers downgrading to friends. Carly wanted more. He said no. Bad or forbidden love. This fits into secrets. Oftentimes, other people are phrased as kind of a mysterious, nebulous external threat to the things Carly is expressing and facing because she sounds like she is obsessed and in limerence and is about to be rejected. On the song Boy Problems, which is almost a pattern-breaking song, it almost breaks the fourth wall because Boy Problems is about a girl talking to Carly saying, you always say the same things and repeat the same relationship. Sorry, that's really weird. In context, that's really fucking weird. That one of the only songs that isn't this is someone saying, hey, have you noticed you have a pattern? Being alone with someone. The idea of, now this seems common in pop, but when phrased against these other things, it increasingly seems like Carly is begging to be alone with this person, or pitching, upscaling, being like, come on, we've been friends for a long time, let's be alone. Didn't come here to dance. There's a song called, I didn't come here to dance. Now, there's actually a bunch of times this is readdressed, but if Carly is partying or having fun, it is specifically to either get his attention or forget him. It is not about having fun. It is not about having a good time. Last Friday night, it's none of TikTok on the clock. No, Carly's sad in the club. And she's not even sad in the club like I'm in the corner watching you kiss her. She's sad in the club like, hey, oh God. It almost seems like we're hearing one story in parts again and again and again, doesn't it? In your arms. Now, being in someone's arms, common imagery, right? On Carly's music, a little too common. The idea of being in someone's arms or spending even one night with them is incredibly important. Spending the night together, she's obsessed with it. Staying up all night. So often, if Carly's talking about night, it has to do with inability to sleep because you are trapped by your emotions, being kept up. Not saying something. These three are really interesting. Carly's perpetually stopping herself from saying how she feels. Now, on some songs, she says, like, I didn't say these three little words. And on some songs, she says she did. When she's stopping herself from saying everything she feels, we're in Act 2. When she said, I love you, we're in Act 3, because it scared him. That happens 2 or 3 times on her songs, that specifically. But generally, there's something Carly doesn't want to express because it would be too much. Carly has a song called Too Much. Again, once you know it, it's hard to miss. Saying something you regret. When Carly said something, it caused the guy to stop liking her. Now she regrets it. Saying something without actually speaking. Now this is really interesting. She is talking to him or about him and saying his eyes are saying something or he's not saying something or she wishes he would express something because she is projecting. It seems like she is projecting. I don't know Carly Rae Jepsen, but there's a reason this leads to this leads to this. And once you notice it again, can't unhear it. Separation by physical distance or geography. Suddenly, planes I'm hopping, cards I'm dropping, no shop can fill me up. That's from LA Hallucinations, which describes an early young relationship of Carly's that for some reason ended abruptly after something was expressed that made someone uncomfortable. And now she wants to be, take me into your arms again and save me from LA hallucinations. I don't know, and I don't guess, because it's none of my fucking business. I'm just a doctor. But oftentimes, after the relationship falls apart, there will be a separation by physical distance. Specifically, you're over there, and I don't know what you're doing, and I'm way over here. Okay, all the other boys. There are lots of other boys in the world who like Carly. All the other boys who try to chase me. Here's my number. If other men are brought up, they are brought up in a deference way. These guys mean nothing compared to how I feel about you. Remember the song that I mentioned, Beach House? I got a lake house in Canada and I'm probably gonna harvest your organs. Crazy lyric for a pop song. But that song actually takes the format of a list of all of the men who she has turned away because the new guy is the one. Being forgotten. In Act 3 songs, Carly regularly wonders if he even ever thinks about her anymore, even though she'll never stop thinking about him. Now, this actually is one of the most interesting ones because it's one of those unique Jepsen themes that comes up a lot, which is a lover being in a bad or dark place. On 2 different songs, Carly literally physically describes herself as a lighthouse. She will guide him, or a light will guide him, sometimes not a lighthouse, sometimes more ambiguous. She will guide him away from the bad or dark. There's a bug up here. No, I'm finally just going off the deep end.
Yes, Professor.
Okay. Lover being in a bad, dark place, she's going to save him, rescue him. This shows up a lot on Act 2, but it also shows up on Act 1 and sometimes on Act 3. The idea that he has turned away from a light that could have saved him, but it's usually Act 2 when hey, come on, take me to the feeling. I'll be your sinner in secret when the lights go out from Run Away With Me. And again, I'm naming specific songs. I could keep naming songs. None of these are rare. If you put Carly Rae Jepsen on shuffle, you will hear these 3 acts. So let's do our final 3 leitmotifs here. Dreaming, sleep, and beds. I mentioned waking up and opening your eyes. Well, also dreaming, being in a dream, having a bad dream, waking up from a dream, feeling like you're in a dream, opening your eyes in bed, laying in bed, staying up all night, specifically beds, sleep, and dreaming. They're going to show up a lot. Cars and driving. Carly wants to go somewhere in a car. Cars come up really often. Being in the car with him. When we took that special drive. Let's Get Lost. Baby, let's take the long way home. Fucking amazing Act 2 song from Emotion. Describes sitting in a car with a guy you have a crush on, who you're not with, and wouldn't it be great if we just drove away together, but it's not going to happen. Waking up and opening your eyes, that kind of goes without saying. Are there any questions? Anything at all? Trinity.
Do you think, like, this is actually Carly Rae Jepsen speaking, or do you think she's, like, making a comment, or, like, is a character?
It's a wonderful question, right? Because very clearly, trying to psychoanalyze someone through their pop career is a pointless, facile, and insulting endeavor, right? I'm not coming into this speculating about why Carly's doing this. But let's take that and point out that the words window, door, bed, dream, light, and moon appear so often that if she's not at least aware that this is a choice, then it has to do with the songs she is choosing. Is she playing a character? Well, we'll get into that. We have a discussion group tomorrow where we're going to get into that, because when I hit you with Carly Rae Jepsen's first 3 released songs, it's going to fuck with you a lot. It's going to fuck with you a lot. Because those songs aren't even available on Spotify. They're only available on YouTube. And if you go to them, you will see people talking about the pattern, because that's ground zero. So is she playing a character? The short answer is, I have no fucking idea. If she is, she's the fucking Andy Kaufman of pop music. She fucking balls deep in this. She has committed a career to it. I mean, even on songs she features on, like Love You Like That by the Knocks, they generally are, you don't love me like that. Ooh, got friend-zoned while you're doing a feature? You're getting friend-zoned on a feature? We don't even have to try. It's always a good time. And yet, no romantic relationship of any kind is mentioned in the song Good Time with Owl City. I don't know, Trinity. But we will discuss it tomorrow because you'll have a little more frame of reference. So let's lastly talk about vertical movement. The idea of rising, getting high, flying, going up. All of these things show up constantly. Act 1. Except for in Act 3, falling, going down, sinking. All of these show up in Act 3. More often, you'll see versions of going up in Carly Rae Jepsen's video for the Loveliest Time, which was released 5 years after the pattern document went viral. She begins the video sitting on a bed, looking out a window at the moon, then gets in a rocket ship, goes to the moon. And then if you were wondering if this exists only in the video or if it's also in the song, the bridge begins with, what happened was we reached the moon, but lost in space, I think we got there all too soon. But you know what? I'm coming back for you, baby. This guy didn't want her. It all went wrong. But come on, it was so good. So that is the Jepsen pattern. The Jepsen pattern runs across all, the vast majority of Carly Rae Jepsen's music. It runs across all of the released albums, with at least 8 of each of the songs on the releases at least fitting the pattern. There are specific songs like Bucket, which is about a sandcastle. I don't fucking know why that song exists. There are specific songs in Jepsen's milieu that don't fit the pattern in as much as they don't, to the scientific method, fit this. There are a few. There are like 11 of them. However, songs like Worldly Matters describe Carly being lost and alone, not being sure what her purpose is in life. You could very easily make the argument for every single one of these songs. If you view it in a narrative sense, they do fit into this story. A young woman romantically fascinated with a man a little older than her who is unavailable, perhaps not older than her, perhaps her own age, but still unavailable, unreachable, and way over there, has a single tryst, one night or a brief affair, following which she is friend-zoned and rejected, but pines on him forever. Now, is this a character, or is it a thematic viewpoint? You know, there are so many bands that exist to pursue a thematic narrative, that the entire band is essentially a concept album band. There are pretty much no pop artists that are like this, you know, but Carly Rae Jepsen is. I think that you will find, when you go into this, hopefully what I have found, which is that I think this is fucking wonderful. I think this is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. The fact that Carly Rae Jepsen repeatedly innovates her musical style, experiments. She's insanely prolific, putting out B-sides that are just as good as her hits. And yet they're all fucking this. Something about that is a monumental achievement in media. Something about that, and the fact that she's not recognized for doing that, is crack cocaine to me. And to the people who crack it open. Again, I'm teaching you in this class. I'm not teaching you from a place of desperation. I'm teaching you from a place of confidence. Hundreds of people have told me this is real. Thousands of people have said it is real without engaging me. Carly has never acknowledged it, but why the fuck should she? We are now going to ask for some class participation. We're gonna do a reading of a Carly Rae Jepsen song called Roses. Okay? So we're then going to analyze the song, so make notes during it, by using the Jepsen pattern. Who would like to be my student reader? Calvin. Join me at the front of the class, please. So don't attempt to sing this. This is from Emotion Side B. This is the song Roses. Why don't you guys go ahead and analyze this as he slowly reads this.
Knock on the door, leaving it open. It wasn't you. Why was I hoping? Said it before, and I'll say it again, that I'll always be here when you need a friend. I sat with you on my bedroom floor, and I couldn't move, all that we were losing. I saw you like I never did before. I never did before. And I can feel you reaching through the cracks, a simple change of seasons, and you're back. All the roses in the garden fade to black. Oh, oh. Yeah, I can feel you reaching through the cracks, a simple change of heart, and you attack. All the roses in the garden fade to black. Oh, oh, I won't take it back. Cat got your tongue, it's been forever. Have you been good? Have you been better? I've said it before, and I'll say it again, that I'll always be here if you need a friend. I sat with you on my bedroom floor, and I couldn't move, all that we were losing. I saw you like I never did before. I never did before.
So, thank you, Calvin. Everybody, round of applause. Can anybody tell me what act Roses took place in?
3.
That's correct. Roses is an Act 3 song. Carly is left without someone who gave her some painful news that led to her being alone and longing for him forever. Now, how many pattern elements did we notice in the song?
She said door.
She said door almost immediately.
Said bed.
She said bedroom, and bed figures into that. Also, the song, one of the first Carly Rae Jepsen songs, Bedroom, describes how good it is to be alone with someone in secret in a bedroom. But what else? What else did we hear? Did we happen to hear, I'll always be here when you need a friend? Okay. Did we hear, I saw you like I never did before? I couldn't move, all that we were losing. So she was rejected. I can feel you reaching through the cracks, a simple change of seasons in your back. She's remembering him. But a simple change of heart, and you attack. What's that lyric about? A little bit more rejection. Let's get a little deeper in. Cat got your tongue. It's been forever. Almost like, why aren't you saying something? You're not saying something. Have you been good? Have you been better? Almost like he was in a bad or dark place. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'll always be here if you need a friend. So again, this is a song about being dumped. However, Calvin did not actually go on to read the second page, which has a few more. Drunk on cigarettes, last chance, say the words, dancing in the dark, love made in the park, big black blossom tree, baby cover me, hold me, left to blow, please don't let me go, please don't let me go. Wow, it's almost like he never said I love you, he didn't say something, down to actually saying the words, last chance, say the words. The dancing is a memory of a previous time when love was made in the park under a big black blossom tree, which again, these are not unspecific images. Oftentimes, Carly will throw really specific images into a song that could otherwise just be a song about getting dumped. But specific images and ideas will place them as elements of memory rather than of fantasy. So is it a character trinity? I don't know. But you would agree that that pretty clearly was an Act 3 song about being rejected by someone you weren't fully with and will now pine on forever, yes? You would also agree that it contains the word door, the word bed, the idea of not saying something, the idea of wanting someone else to say something, the idea of rejection. Okay, let's go a little deeper. Let's go to Carly's second to most recent album. This is a song called Talking to Yourself. Who would like to be my student reader?
I was always invisible. Consequences are difficult to face. Could have been something beautiful, but you made it impossible to stay. So tell me what you got on your mind, what you got on your mind, what you got on your mind. Am I keeping you up at night? Keeping you up at night? I'll never let you be, no. Are you thinking of me when you're with somebody else? Do you talk to me when you're talking to yourself? Are you reaching for me, making love to someone else? Do you talk to me, when you're talking to yourself, self? When you're talking to your, talk to me. When you're talking to yourself, you were never just miserable without talking to me, with you all the way. Don't it hit you subliminal? Now that I'm not the only one who's taking the blame, so tell me what you got on your mind, what you got on your mind, what you got on your mind. Am I keeping you up at night, keeping you up at night? I'll never let you be, no. Are you thinking of me when you're with somebody else? Do you talk to me when you're talking to yourself? Are you reaching for me, making love to someone else?
Everybody, Trinity. So what act did that song take place in?
3.
Class, did it sound like 3?
Escape fantasy.
That's a 3. That's a 3. It's obsession, but it contains elements of 2. Do you remember me now that you've rejected me? Right? It's a romantic liaison that was shut down, and now she remembers it forever, and she just hopes he remembers her. So let's just look at this really quickly. I was always invisible. Consequences are difficult to face. Why would there be consequences for a romantic relationship unless it was kept secret? You've made it impossible to say, so tell me what you've got on your mind, what you've got on your mind, what you've got on your mind, almost like he's not saying something. Am I keeping you up at night? The idea of staying up all night appears twice. And then, are you thinking of me when you're with somebody else? Do you talk to me when you're talking to yourself, right? So now we go a little deeper. You were never just miserable without me taking you all the way. What a strange pop lyric. Almost like a relationship that brought someone out of a dark space, flew into a limerent space, and has now led to rejection and misery and longing. Again, there's more in here, but I'm not going to belabor it. I'm going to now do one more reading. This is Carly Rae Jepsen's first ever released song off the EP, Dear You. It's one of 3 songs off that EP. Any guesses as to what these 3 songs are about?
Act 1, Act 2, Act 3.
Trinity?
Act 1, Act 2, Act 3.
Excellent. This is actually a cult.
Dear you, I'm still thinking about you, and I can't seem to get you from my mind, no. It's true, I imagine us together, and I won't pretend it doesn't feel just fine, oh. My dear, dear, dear you, I'm craving to be near you. Dear you, I want to share your flannel shirt. I want to share my joy and hurt with you alone, if you taught me to. Not your tie just right, could I maybe? Could it keep it for the night? With you attached, ha, my dear, dear, dear you. I'm aching to be near you. Could I slip into your arms just like a puzzle piece? We fit so perfectly. Would I melt under your hidden charms and close my eyes and fall so desperately for my dear, dear, dear you, dear you. I'm waiting to be near you. Dear you, you're the only one for me, no one else could win each game you see. And still you have my heart, oh. You see, I'm so distracted by your smile. I'm so attracted all the while. It's hard to speak, my dear, dear you. I'm dying to be near you.
So that was kind of interesting, right? Where do we think that goes? Boom! That is the first song off the album titled Dear You, and it is an Act 1 song. So let's take a look. What did we hear?
Obsession.
Obsession, we did. I'm still thinking about you and I can't seem to get you from my mind, but that also has to do with being trapped in your head or trapped with your thoughts, right? I imagine us together. And it feels just fine. My dear you, I'm craving to be near you. Now we have, I want to share my joy and hurt with you alone. Now that doesn't quite fit the being alone thing, but it certainly does with, if you taught me to not your tie just right, could I maybe keep it for the night with you attached, spending the night together, but also clarifies that this is a pitch. This is not someone she's dating. This is not someone she's sleeping with. She also says here, and this is really interesting, could I slip into your arms? Again, the idea of going into someone's arms is a pretty common theme in love poetry, but why does it have to show up in exactly those words so many times? It's kind of interesting. We fit so perfectly. Would I melt under your hidden charms and close my eyes and fall so desperately? Vertical movement downward, eyes closing or opening. I'm waiting to be near you. You are the only one for me. No one else could win each game. All the other boys tried to get me. Here's my number, call me maybe. No one's as good as you. You can still have my heart. I'm so attracted by your smile. So attracted all the while. It's hard to speak. Almost like she's not saying something. So, would you agree that those 3 songs do seem to contain uncanny similarities to the pattern I'm describing? Would you believe that the vast majority of Carly Rae Jepsen's songs will hit the same buttons those just did, where your ears perk up and you'd go, why did she use that word? Because they do. Tonight, I'm going to be assigning you a homework assignment. You're going to film yourself on your cell phone. At the end of this document I've given you, starting at the bottom of this page here, kind of fucked up the formatting here, but that's the public school system, right? What act does your song take place in? Which of the 7 themes does it include? And what leitmotifs or sub-themes does it include? I've created a playlist featuring the majority of Carly Rae Jepsen's released music called Jepsenology 101. I'm going to email all you on the playlist on Spotify. You're going to listen to 3 songs, okay? You're going to put it on shuffle and go 1, 2, 3. You can just Google the lyrics of the songs that randomly come up and you'll go like this. And the camera will go on you like this. Like that. Carly Rae Jepsen is a brilliant performer and singer and songwriter who has, intentionally or otherwise, achieved something truly bizarre, powerful, and emotionally moving, and you'll find kind of haunting. There is a deep sadness to a lot of Carly Rae Jepsen's music, even in her happiest songs. A sense of girlish hopefulness that can only end badly. We are dealing with an artist who has formatted themselves across one story for 18 years. Do we have any last questions?
My question is, do you think this pattern contributed to her cult-like following, or did it prevent her from transcending this perceived one-hit wonder status most may hold?
I think the idea, within the gay community, I think within the community of younger women, the idea of powerfully expressed emotions of sadness, longing, and rejection have a connective tissue, especially when phrased inside of what can best be described as sort of candy disco pop. You have to keep in mind that Carly Rae Jepsen's first EP and album are way closer to Michelle Branch than the Carly Rae Jepsen you guys know from Call Me Maybe. They're much more singer-songwriter, and these themes are much more way out front and direct and specific. Carly has evolved herself again and again and again. Emotion is a legendary 80s-inspired, synth-driven pop album that took her from one-hit wonder to respected artist. But has it stopped her from crossing all the way over? I would argue yes. I would also say that Carly doesn't, despite painting this incredibly specific picture of a character, Carly does not frame it that way and does not introduce herself or promote herself in the same way a Rihanna, a Taylor Swift, a Beyonce, a Katy Perry, even a Kesha does as, I'm the person who does this. Every time Carly comes back, she comes back different, often with different hair and different outfits. Now, this level of reinvention really works well when you haven't had a song like Call Me Maybe. Call Me Maybe, I think, backed her up. If you look at I Really Like You, Call Me Maybe, Higher, Cut to the Feeling, most of her biggest hits, now they're most of her most beloved songs in terms of the communities that love her, myself included, the straight Jewish weird guy community, which me and Andrew are part of. It's interesting because the songs I connect to personally are Act 3 songs, but there is definitely a level of non-variance. If you look at the album Teenage Dream by Katy Perry, you're dealing with songs about all sorts of different shit. If you look at Taylor Swift's biggest albums, they're all sorts of different shit. Like, I've got a blank space. I'm crazy. You want to date me? I'm nuts. Oh, actually, you're nuts. I knew you were trouble when you walked in. I don't care what the haters say about me. You look at all of Taylor Swift's songs. She has a song about buying a house. Like, here's the history of a house I bought. What the fuck? Carly Rae Jepsen has songs about wanting someone who doesn't want you, wishing you could run away with them, and getting flicked to the curb by that same guy. Any other questions? Neeson.
So doing this research,
Yes.
have you found that she has the same co-writers or songwriters? Because with a person like Taylor Swift, right, the reason why she has so many songs that's out the blue, she's writing moments in her life.
Capturing.
Yes.
Diary.
Yeah, diary, right? Carly Rae Jepsen, she's having these same exact things that's reoccurring. Are these the same writers that are writing with her, or have they just found a pocket where they're like, yeah, what's your thought process on that?
There are some producer threads, there are some songwriter threads. I don't lean into that aspect of it because that is not impressive to me. What's impressive to me is the consistency of these ideas, and she's the credited songwriter on Dear You. So she starts this ball rolling on that first EP.
She's a solo creditor.
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
So,
What if she's actually using different writers and different producers for those certain acts?
I mean, that would be incredible to know if you want to ask ChatGPT to do that for us.
But she might not even know that. She might just like this one person for this style and.
She can't not know. That's the hardest part of this, is it has to either be a subconscious knowledge or a conscious knowledge. But you don't accidentally just keep going upstairs, getting on planes, opening and closing doors and looking out windows at the moon. You don't. It doesn't happen organically unless those things, hey, okay, I'm a screenwriter, right? My stories, when you break them down, are ultimately about outsiders with a special talent who are alienated by their poor social skills and lack of ability to relate to other people, redeemed by their talent, which ultimately causes them to find acceptance, or, if things go tragically, like in Chronicle, death. The same power which makes them special is the power that destroys them. Now that's a theme in my work, but no one's comparing American Ultra to Chronicle to Victor Frankenstein to Bright, right?
If you're writing just American Ultra in like the style of Sweet Valley High.
Yes.
Where you're stuck with these conflicts that a teenage girl might be, so you have these base themes, these like almost like these archetypes of what it's like to, oh, I'm crushing, oh no, like all these archetypes that once you define that, your selection is only so many, right?
No. Creativity is a glass planet, Andrew.
Yes.
Literally, you can do whatever the fuck you want. A teenage crush can lead to a marriage or a murder, and everything in between.
But when it's defined from the girls, from like the teenage girl's point of view, where she's so afraid of, oh, I'm getting mortified. Remember that 17 style, that 90s almost idea of the teenage crush.
Right, but then you put that against Clueless and it doesn't exist. Yeah, so there are themes that Carly touches on that are archetypal cliches, but the fact that it always goes the same way, that's the interesting thing, that there is no variance. There's not a version where she fucking gets the guy.
Right, and there's no single puppeteer that you can point to either.
Other than Jepsen herself.
Can you point to thematically, maybe she's just writing about one single story?
Of course you could do that, but I'm not gonna, because I don't know her. This is the Talmud here, and I'm a rabbi, and she's God, okay? I'm not here to question God, and I'm not here to investigate the motivations of the rabbi. I'm here to look at the Word. The Word is there for the people to see it. John.
You corrected yourself a couple times when you said the vast majority of her songs.
Yes.
If you could give it a percentage.
95.
Okay.
95% of the Carly Rae Jepsen, more maybe. It's hard to find ones that don't. And the ones you find that don't specifically include the words or phrases will still find a way to include the idea of one of these themes.
I wondered about that, like if they were just stories,
There's
like
the
how
maj-
Taylor writes stories about
Taylor writes
fictional
stories about incidences, but like in the song Getaway Car, it's like, hey, we started a relationship that could have never worked because we met in a getaway car. That's, maybe that's a real thing. Maybe that's a metaphor. Getaway car is what they call cars that take celebrities away from events. Isn't this could be about Tom Hiddleston, right? Like maybe they were in an event together, nothing good starts in a getaway car. Celebrities are often thrown into odd couples in these cars that leave red carpets. Maybe that's what she's singing about. Carly doesn't have songs like that. Okay, thank you class for coming out to Monterey Park. Give yourselves a round of applause. You're beautiful, 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 you're beautiful. Chris is beautiful, Big Chris is beautiful, Ben is beautiful.
You're beautiful.
Carly Rae Jepsen is beautiful. What is it? You're beautiful. Yeah, Keanu Reeves. You're beautiful. Good morning, class.
Morning.
Nice to see you all again. How many of you did your homework? Raise your hands. Nice, incredible class. Nice work. How many of you... Mr. Schwartz!
I'm sorry.
Not even the noise of a phone call.
No, it was a ping from like an hour ago.
You're trying to find your cell phone that you're holding? Put your cell phone under the table, please, Mr. Schwartz.
Yeah, you got it.
I don't get paid enough for this. In fact, I'm paying to be here. How many of you who did your homework noticed that one or more of the songs contained the Jepsen pattern? Interesting. How many of you had 2 songs that contained the Jepsen pattern? How many of you, one?
2.
2. How many of you had 3 songs, or if you didn't have 3, had a song that could be argued to fit the Jepsen pattern? So we're going to start off today revisiting the story of the highs and lows of an obsessive love with a platonic friend who briefly indulges it. Looking at the chorus of Carly Rae Jepsen's Christmas song, Mittens. I fell for you like crazy, and I can't get thoughts of you from me. So give me your warmest, strongest pair of mittens, please. Why are you talking about getting dumped in your Christmas song? Better question. Why is Carly Rae Jepsen's other Christmas song called It's Not Christmas Till Somebody Cries? Better question. Why is Carly Rae Jepsen's only 80s cover Last Christmas, a song about getting dumped on Christmas? We're going to come over here. These are the Carly Rae Jepsen albums, including the EP, but there actually is a song that predates a lot of these. It's called A Cup of Tea. I'm now going to read for you the lyrics of A Cup of Tea. A cup of tea, a cup of tea. I've been driving all night. You won't turn on your light that easily. A neon sign offers some shelter across the street. Guess I'll drink my troubles down with a cup of tea. You're over me. You're over me. I howl at your room like a wolf to the moon, going crazy. Ring one more time. It won't bring your footsteps down to me. I guess I'll sit and wait all night with a cup of tea. But it's getting cold in here. 24 hours, dear. Are you with someone else tonight? The distance was killing me. I thought how surprised you'd be. I hope we make sweet love after we fight. Now, is anyone hearing what this song is actually about? I know you're probably noticing the patterns within it, but what this song is actually about is really interesting. So she then goes na-na-na for a while. She says, I let it be, try to let it be. I'll be hot to your touch. You say, I think, too much. Call me baby, and it'll all be fine once you are walking up the street. Till then, I'll drink my troubles down with a cup of tea. She's holding your waist. She'd give you a taste so easily. So, this is a song about not telling a guy you're coming to his apartment after he said that he's not in love with you, and then screaming up at his room, going insane, repeatedly ringing the buzzer, but he won't come down, and she's going to wait all night outside his house with a cup of tea. Did any of you guys hear the song Curiosity? Curiosity's lyrics are interesting, aren't they? They're almost the lyrics of a stalker, aren't they? If you change the tone of voice you use, as I said, when you sing Carly Rae Jepsen songs, you really unveil a different character. My favorite lyric from Curiosity being, of course, you know I'm going to follow you home through the rain because I need your love. And this curiosity will never let me go. So, let's get into it. Today is going to be an open forum discussion panel. Please raise your hands. Please try not to interrupt each other. Please respect the time of the class. We're not trying to be here till 5 p.m. But also be sure you express everything. If someone says something that hits a note with you, feel free to raise your hand to contribute. And I'd like to start with Neeson. Neeson, what 3 songs did you have?
So I had So Nice, Curiosity, and the Owl City, and featuring, I think, Good Time, right?
Good Time.
Yeah, Good Time.
Hard to place in the pattern, Good Time.
Yes, that was the one I was kind of.
What is it
iffy
about?
on.
What is it about, though?
I honestly don't know. Besides having a good time
With a platonic friend.
Yeah. Oh, is that just with a friend? Because it didn't even make a reference of like.
Them even knowing each other.
Yeah, it was very.
We don't even have to try. It's always
So
a
it's
good
good to have a
time.
good time. It was very bland. So I was very like, is this a nominee one?
She dropped her phone in the pool.
Yes.
And then she checks out and hits the ATM.
Yes.
Carly is in a hotel. She's traveling. Another good hotel Carly song is Hotel Shampoos. Usually that's representative of traveling a physical distance. Mm-hmm. In Good Time, we find Carly uniting with a platonic friend. Good Time does come close to breaking the pattern, except it also, not unlike Worldly Matters, fits within the pattern. I'm having such a good time with you, I don't even have to try. A male is singing, a female is singing. She's traveling. She's kind of a mess. She dropped her phone in the pool. You see what I mean? Yeah, Andrew.
I saw it as like somebody that she like it's a guy on Instagram and she's almost pretending, you know, it's like she's gonna have a good time. It's no matter what, she's in love with somebody that's not even like it's impossible, like a crush or like a pop star.
Neeson, let's talk about your 2 other songs, because those are both pattern heavy.
Yeah, So Nice. So Nice was my last one, and that was probably the most interesting one because she almost had me. And then I read the lyrics, and I was like, oh, this is a very obsessive person that doesn't, it's not even a friend. It felt like it was just a crush from afar.
Yeah.
And her imagination of imagining like what it could be with this person. So that one was very, and it was driving in, it's like Starfleet, driving in a car. She was driving in a car. She was, it was more so like a forbidden love. It wasn't even friends and an upgrade. It was about staying the night, but she wanted to, or she not spending the night, but she wanted to stay the night with the person. Yeah, and all the other boys, it doesn't matter because she was the one. Like he was crushing all the other boys she was crushing on or something like that. So that was a very journal heavy song.
You also did Curiosity?
Yes, and that was, it was spooky.
Curiosity gets in your face. You describe it as spooky.
Yeah, well, because my process of listening to these, like I told you, I didn't have Spotify, right? So I just randomly scroll with my eyes closed on Apple Music and press play. And then as it was starting, I look up the lyrics. So I'm reading the lyrics to these songs as it's going, not really hearing, but hearing. And I'm like, oh, this is scary on Curiosity. So I didn't know where to place it because it was like, I felt like it could fit in. It wasn't even giddy, but it felt like it was an escape for sure. And then it was like, you were scorned, but not scorned because you didn't know the person.
Yeah, Curiosity's an Act 2 song.
Yeah, so it's very scary. That song was very interesting.
It was interesting. You're the first person we're talking to. Yeah. Was it interesting to tap into a song and immediately hear the pattern?
Yes, it was. Well, yeah, it was. Like in a sense of the second song. The first song, I was like, okay,
yeah,
cool, right? The second song was like, all right, this is getting a little weird. And then the third song was like, oh, we're here. Like, yeah, this is right. This is for sure 100% in. So that was So Nice was the last song.
Okay, Trinity.
I had Run Away With Me.
Oh, classic escape song.
Yeah, Curiosity also, and Kamikaze.
Oh gosh.
So Curiosity, I was also having trouble placing the act. I said Act 3 ? Act 2 because it was weird because I couldn't tell what their relationship was, but I did write down that it was rejection as like a theme. But it was in terms of like incoming or perceived rejection. Like the rejection hadn't happened yet, but it's like she was assuming that the rejection was going to play into it. And then I wrote like obsession, and then misery and longing were like very present. And then with Run Away From Me, I said it was Act 2 because it was like very much the escape fantasy.
Ideal Act 2 song.
Yeah, and it was like obsession, escape, temptation. She said like I'll be your secret, so she's talking about the secrets. And then Kamikaze.
She's also driving in a car and running away.
She's also driving in the car.
And sneaking away from a big group of people who can't know that it's happening.
Yeah.
And it's a pitch. It didn't really happen.
Right. None of them. Even in Kamikaze, like she's referencing this guy who was like in a dark place. I can't remember what the lyrics were there. But then, I mean, even just the title, like Kamikaze, and talking about these like basically like bomb was crazy. She talked about like going higher than free falling, so she had all of those, and something about moonlight, and limerence is very present. I pegged it as like an Act 3 song.
Yeah, Kamikaze is an Act 3 song.
But yeah, I thought it was really. And Curiosity was the only one where I was like, this isn't quite as on the nose as Run Away With Me or Kamikaze, but because it had the same like thematic details, I was like, it still fits. Life.
Curiosity is a crossover song between Act 2 and 3.
Okay. So
sometimes the acts will cross over because the acts aren't real in the sense that the themes are real. The themes are, you immediately see them. The sub-themes, you immediately see them. The acts are just how I group them. So some Act 1 songs cross over a little bit with Act 2. Yeah. Some Act 2 songs cross over a little bit with Act 3. Kamikaze is an interesting one because as she worked through her career, the themes became more and more blatant, and the repeated words have become more and more common. Caroline.
So I had Tiny Little Bows.
Oh gosh.
I had Sour Candy and Run Away with Me as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so I agree with everything you said about Run Away with Me. It was, I like how she does reference like the ups and the downs, and everything is always in motion. But yeah, in Tiny Little Bows, it's so funny how it starts off really cutesy and happy and nice, and everything's just so gay and delightful, and nothing could go wrong. But then all of a sudden, when you get to these other songs, it's just like the most despairing thing ever. Like everything falls into complete and utter chaos, and it's just kind of scary, the immediate downcline. Yeah, she never actually gets what she wants, ever.
Yeah. No, Carly has almost pretty much no songs about being happy and with someone. Tiny Little Bows is a hard one. What was your second one there?
Sour Candy.
Tell me about Sour Candy, because I remember that being a frustrating.
Well, it was also, there's another person singing with her,
Yeah.
right? And so it's like, I feel like he's just telling her to fuck off.
Yeah.
The entire time he's just like, leave me alone. I don't like you. And she's just like, yeah, but like,
What if?
yeah, exactly. Like,
What
she's just like,
if?
can you just explore this with me for a second? And he's like, no,
So
I have
the-
no interest in this.
There's a lot of pitching, but it occasionally comes into a space of begging, because the emotional consequences that she lays out for herself are so devastating. You said it goes from cute to crazy very quickly.
Yeah.
I found that to be very true.
My very first one was the Charlie XCX feature, Backseat. And then I had Keep Away and Solo.
Okay. Why don't you tell us about them a little?
So Backseat, it fit. Charlie had her verse, and then Carly comes in immediately with I'm wide awake. Backseat, she's the passenger in the car. It's regrets, there's the temptation, there's the misery, longing. So it fit. I mean, I thought Act 3, it's the...
Backseats in Act 3?
Yeah. And then, but there was an anomaly I noticed that she mentioned something about breaking your heart. Like she's breaking his heart. So did she break up with him for once?
There are a couple of times Carly positions herself as the separating party rather than the separated party.
Okay.
As long as it still so tightly fits the pattern. There are so many different songs where she projects that he feels something. You're feeling something you're not going to say. You're doing this, but you can't articulate it. There's so many of those that on something like Backseat, I just sort of take for granted that it fits the pattern so closely, why the fuck do I question it? There are little anomalies in there, but the fact that even within the anomalies, moon window door, you broke up with me, I'm in love with you. Like, you got hurt, I got hurt, I'm miserable, I'm falling, I'm flying.
Wide awake, falling, yeah.
Okay, so your other two songs?
Keep Away, which I thought all these three were Act 3. It's all misery, longing. There's some temptation in there. But yeah, with Keep Away, waking up, physical separation, there's the distance, talk about being alone with him. But then there was something I noticed with the whole friends thing. She's talking about being friends with his friends. Like she got friends out of it, like his friends out of it. So there's the whole friends thing, but it's like, even though she's not friends with him anymore, but she's friends with his friends. I thought that was kind of an interesting, twist on that.
Weird little details sometimes. Weird little details that don't fit into a pop song smoothly, and they feel narratively instructive. You want to say anything about your last song, or?
Actually, yeah, Solo was the one I kind of wanted to focus on because the only kind of repetitive
Solo's a hard one.
motif was floor. That was the only one I picked up on. There are probably more, but that one was just the one that immediately jumped out. But this one is it's second person, but she's almost like talking to herself. She's like talking about it's almost like I'm talking to this other girl about her breakup, but you can tell she's talking about herself. So just the positioning of that I thought was interesting rather than just going straight, you, this guy. She's talking about you,
Carly.
like she's talking to herself. But then the whole thing is about dancing solo by yourself. Like you shine so bright when you dance solo, and so it's about healing, or at least maybe trying to.
Using dance to escape from a painful feeling.
There we go.
So if it was a song about having fun and dancing, that would be one thing. But Solo's about a breakup.
Yeah.
Solo also shares thematic crossover with another song in which Carly sings to herself, that of course being Boy Problems. Carly gotta let it go. She said to me on the phone, so sick of hearing all your boy problems. Really interesting, John. Presley.
So my first one was Your Heart is a Muscle.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Lyric that I was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Wake up moon, we spend the night alone together. And I was like, well, let me get my pencil out. So obviously that embodies the motifs of like alone together, spending the night, waking up, like wake up moon, obviously moon.
For those of you who don't know, My Heart is a Muscle, Your Heart is a Muscle is a song in which Carly goes, love me!
Yeah.
Use your heart to love me. And he doesn't.
And then there's the separation by physical distance. She says, if I could turn this plane around and fly to where you are now. There's a lot of dreaming and sleep and bed stuff, like wake up you're probably still sleeping.
Your Heart is a Muscle is a Keystone song.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's obsession, like I want to go, be, and see wherever you are. There's the rejection, like in the beginning, he says like, or she says, you gave me my shirt back, kind of as like we're done, here's all your stuff, like don't fucking come back, like, please. And then there's like misery longing, where she's like, I've been away too long, even though this guy clearly wants nothing to do with her.
Almost like she's outside his apartment,
Yeah,
ringing the bell
basically.
repeatedly, kind of, you know?
Yeah, so that one was clearly an Act 3 one to me. The second one I had was Tonight I'm Getting Over You, which is about her like dancing to forget, and she says like, I'll keep dancing till the morning with somebody new. Tonight I'm getting over you. So she's trying to use it to like distract herself. Don't really know if that works, but whatever.
And it's still kind of a breakup song.
For sure.
She doesn't sound like she's winning.
No, she's like kind of spiteful in this one. It's like there's like the lovers downgrading to friends, but it's like she says we're not lovers but more than friends, but kind of like in a negative way. Like we were lovers from her perspective, but then now we're like, you know, we can't be friends because we're more than friends.
Isn't it interesting how many lyrics, when alone, fit the pattern, but when placed into the context of the acts? On a normal song, you would contextualize the idea of we're more than friends, but less than lovers, as we now have a complicated relationship because we were lovers. Except, within the context of the pattern, it's possible they were never lovers at all, and she's projecting.
Yeah.
Next song.
The last one I had was pretty interesting. It's Worldly Matters. I know we touched on it yesterday, but this one I feel like didn't fit one of the three, but was more of like a like post Act 3 song, where it was like after the breakup. It was kind of about her like reprioritizing like what she's focusing on. She's talking about like how she's been distracted with her own concerns and like forgot to like about like the actual important things. So it doesn't really like reek of female desperation like the other ones to me. It's more of like focusing on herself. She's not projecting her feelings on anyone. She's only talking about herself.
So interesting about Worldly Matters. I brought that song up yesterday because it seems like a clear pattern breaker. And by most logical metrics it is. I don't want to get into the projection level of putting a narrative on it. But is that a happy song?
No, I mean, it's like, it's kind of, there's like a sense of grief to it.
Melancholy?
Yeah, kind of like I've missed out on all this stuff. I've been so focused on something.
What's interesting about Worldly Matters, as well as Beach House and one or two other songs, Good Time, songs that appear to break the pattern, is they break the strict pattern, but they fit within the act structure. And if you go down her albums, you see that the act structure repeats and repeats and is cyclical. She's talking about potentially new experiences in the same way. You know, if you theorize about the person or the narrative, you get this is someone who was hurt by someone and is in a sort of Portrait of Dorian Gray, repeating, you know, a Groundhog Day loop. But songs like Worldly Matters and fucking Beach House fit neatly at the top or bottom of the act structure. I was in such a dark place before I met you, and I felt unplugged from everything. Worldly Matters kind of hits that beat. So when you look at it, when you look at specific beats within songs, they do end up circling back. But Worldly Matters is a tough one. Your other two songs are pretty fucking heavy pattern songs. Your Heart is a Muscle is something I show to people to make them go, what the fuck?
Sure.
Calvin.
My first one was also Good Time, and it was in that I put it in Act 1, even though it is, I feel like, less distinct, but really because it's that giddy, just that happy, like, oh, we're going out and up all night, waking up, there's cars, driving alone with myself, like being alone and stuff like that. The next one was No Drug Like Me.
Oh, yeah.
That was a lot. It talks a lot about just her taking a lover from this dark place, and like I'm the one that's gonna, get you higher, and you've never had a drug like me. All these things. There was a lot of escapism as well in there. There's some temptation around the drug and everything like that.
It's an Act 2 song, I think.
I would agree. There's also a little bit of rejection in the beginning of it. And so it was interesting to see throughout these three just how, even if it is an Act 2, there's still already a little bit of that rejection already implanted there.
Rejection as a theme creeps even into Act 1 songs. Almost always Carly's romances are contextualized by some form of rejection.
Yeah. And then the third that I had was Never Over, which was, I was just listening to it without reading the lyrics, and I was like, oh, this is like really catchy. And then I started reading it, and I was like, oh my God, this is... Disturbing is the wrong word.
No, disturbing actually works.
Unsettling. I'd like to go with unsettling.
Many of Jepsen's lyrics, even the really romantic ones, when divorced from either the singer-songwriterness of her early career or the bubblegum pop of the later stages, followed, of course, by the synth disco experimentation of her most recent albums, there is an unsettlingness to them. The idea that this person is projecting and not quite seeing the person they are in love with clearly.
It even comes through in the music. It's not even just the lyrics. The
Well,
music's unsettling.
But how does that song start? You want the Never Over song? How does
Never
that...
over, never over.
And would you describe the voice that sings those words as chilling?
It was, yeah, I think that would be a good way to describe it. It's interesting because as I listened to it the first time, I was like, oh, maybe this is an Act 2, I'm not really sure. There's a couple of different themes. There's like friends to lovers, lovers to friends, stuck in her head, talking about dancing. We can make love in my town, your town. So I was like, okay, maybe there's some
Separation of
escapism.
physical distance.
Exactly. And then upon reading it again, I was like, oh, this is definitely an Act 3 song.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Andrew, what were your songs?
Well, I chose to do 4 because I felt I might have been set up with the first 2, or because my first one was Airplanes, and I'm like, it's like this song, everything about the song is like this is the pattern song.
Yep. Airplanes is a pattern
and
song.
then came up Call Me Maybe, and I was like, okay, fuck yeah. And then after that was Good Time. So I'm like, all right.
How do people keep getting Good Time? That's like the song. I wish you guys got more B-sides. Like all of her songs do. The vast majority of her songs do this. So people keep getting Good Time. That's painful for me to hear.
Well, it's going to shuffle also based on the Spotify algorithm. So you're not just going to get your...
Those fucking cucks.
Yeah, it's not
Sorry,
just it'll get beeped out.
Class is a safe place.
Yeah, that's there. Yeah.
Okay.
So after that, I'm like, well, I just want to give it one more roll of dice and see what happens. And then I got Put It to Rest. And it's like you hit me with the moon, you hit me with it's like summarizing so many other songs. Like she's referencing lyrics in other songs.
Yeah, isn't it crazy when you get the lyric crossovers?
But that's how I felt between Call Me Maybe and Good Time, because I immediately went to like High School Musical with Call Me Maybe, and it wasn't like hot girl in the bar. It's like 14-year-old girl in her bedroom, pretending in the mirror, like, oh, all the boys love me, they're crushing me. Like, oh, but the boy that she, like the pop star she crushes on, like, oh, well, here's my number, Call Me Maybe. And then when it goes in a Good Time, it was like, oh, this is still her fantasizing.
I want to pull back to Airplanes. What themes did you notice in Airplanes?
It was the funeral. Like the funeral hit me. Like, oh, like she started talking about she's either killing herself or the guy. Like you can't have my love anymore unless everything was like. But again, it also was manic, and I'm like even the same way the other 2 songs. Like at first I'm like, oh, these are Act 1, but like no, this is Act 2. This is a manic person in their fantasy land. And then I read the Act 3 songs as like it's still that manicness. It's that up and down of manic, and none of this stuff it's all delusional.
fantasy and fantasy's cruel cousin, delusion. Thank you, Andrew. Danny.
I got So Right as the first song. Oof. Do you really think this is a good idea? I mean, no, probably not. But yeah, all right. See you at my place. So those lyrics tell me, all right, she hooked up with somebody who's in a relationship.
Forbidden
it's
love.
not a good idea. All right, there's this secret. When I'm with you, you follow me high. Don't follow me low. I'm ready to ride wherever you go. And then the rest of it is her pitching to be alone with him. So I saw this as an Act 2 song.
It is.
It's not a complete rejection. She has somebody who wants to have sex with her and cheat on their partner with her, but nothing more than that, and she wants more. And then the second song was Talking to Yourself.
Oh, I love talking to yourself. Act 3.
Yes, Act 3. It's a rejection song. It's a repeating lyric. What do you have on your mind? She wants to know what is he thinking, and the creepy lyric being, I'll never let you be. Mm-hmm. Obsession, insecurity. Are you seeing somebody else? Are you thinking about me? Are you having sex with somebody else but thinking about me? Are you? I'll never let you be. And then the third song is Curiosity, which we already brought up. I'm gonna follow you home through the rain.
Because I need your love.
Yeah.
You know I'm gonna follow you home.
Yeah, because you're the key.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I know you've got the key. And I know that it's for me. What the hell? What the hell? This guy's rejecting you. I know you've got the key. Ma'am, this is a Wendy's. Like, Yasmine.
The song my shuffle landed upon frames the pattern perfectly. And it was Window. Neatly fell into Act 2. In terms of the 7 themes, 5 were covered with a little bit touch on 6. So temptation, obsession, limerence, secrets, escape, and a touch of longing, sans the misery. In terms of the other motifs, the friends upgrading to lovers, alone with someone, in your arms, staying up all night, all the other boys. I mean, it's called Windows. She talks about windows. There's a door. There's a dream. And that's the song.
So it's almost like a completely random Carly Rae Jepsen song manages to not only hit more than 2/3 of the things I've listed, but also all of the keywords. Yes?
Yes.
You only did one. Now that we reach the end of the circle, before we open up to discussion, theorizing, and themes, we're going to do 2 more for you.
Okay.
So we're going to do this one just for you and then one for the group. This is off Carly Rae Jepsen's first EP, Dear You. There was a wonderful reading of Dear You yesterday, the titular track, which was an Act 1 song. This is called In My Bedroom. This is the second song on the album. So yeah, he loves me, and I miss him too, because he felt so constant, which is something new. Live flowers, hazelnut oils, and him. Vanilla scents, massage into your skin. And we danced in my bedroom, thought we could see the moon. And for the weekend, you stay by my side. When Monday comes, I know a spot where you can hide. My room is small, but it holds all the world inside. I'll keep your secrets if you'll just confide. Let's dance in my bedroom, where we can see the moon. Some things are meant to be. I bet you were made for me. And if he asks, I'd do anything he'd say. Anything to help him drive the fear away. And just to keep him here for one more perfect day, I'll tell you there's no price I wouldn't pay. Moon again, the bedroom, the chorus there. Then a candle flickers and the shadows catch my eye. I'm praying that we never have to say goodbye. His breathing hums to me this gentle lullaby. I watch the ceiling, but I see the sky. Close every curtain, so it's just me and you. Some things are meant to be. I think you were made for me. Did you notice any themes on that song, or was it just kind of all themes?
No, well, actually, that's interesting that you say all themes, because I felt that in terms, before I get into the themes, in terms of the act, it was like Act 2 about to break into Act 3. It was like on the edge, like she's like pitching, but she knows she's about to lose him, so she's losing it in the moment as well, and whatever. Secrets, dancing. Again, it was like this weird mixture of like, you know, the longing and touching him, but also being aware that he's about to leave, and just, you know, her desperate pleas, subconscious, conscious.
So I'm sure you saw Moon in there, because it's in the chorus. But there's actually a couple of ones that are kind of interesting. The one that I like because it hides a theme is, well, obviously Alone Together, close every curtain so it's just you, me and you. But also, I'm praying that we never have to say goodbye. His breathing hums to me this gentle lullaby. I watch the ceiling, but I see the sky. She is laying awake in bed next to a guy who she is not in a relationship with, who will be leaving soon, it sounds like, and is not actually available, and they are spending the night together. If he asked me, I'd do anything he'd say. Anything to help him drive the fear away? Okay, one more for Yaz. This song is the third song, so that's an Act 2 song, yeah?
Yeah.
This song is the third song off the Dear You EP. If you never see my face, you won't see a trace of what I'm going through, and I'm going through a lot for you. I can see that you don't care, and I'm scared to fall without you. It's so hard to fall without you. To be without you, a sea with no shore. To live without you is like a room without a door. And I keep wishing I could break free if you would come back here and free me. I've been living for your eyes, the second you might turn to see me. Can you see me, really see me? Now I see it's all a lie, that I've lived inside my own illusion, and all this means nothing. To be without you, a sea with no shore, a room without a door. Keep wishing I could break free. I get so lonely. Oh, and I am so lost, lost. So I try to get myself upright, try to dream of anything but you tonight, because waking up is a losing fight. The dream just doesn't last. I wake to realize the truth too fast, and I'm wishing for my past. If you never see my face, you won't see a trace of what I'm going through. And I'm going through a lot for you.
Friend zone forever for sure.
Yep.
Something interesting that I noted while you were reading that, I mean, also given the imagery of like window, door, and also the shore, is her fixation on liminal spaces and how she herself is in this liminal space.
Interesting.
State or whatever in between. But we had the vertical movement, we had the bed, the waking up.
Dreams.
Yeah.
The whole fucking thing.
Everything.
What act is that?
3.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it's almost like her first EP has an Act 1 song, an Act 2 song, and an Act 3 song in order. In order on the album. What does it all mean? What is the Carly Rae Jepsen pattern, and why does it exist? I'd like to open this up to your experiences or any specific other thoughts you've had. I just want to talk about it for a second because I've never welcomed people in. Yes, Caroline.
What if she is just recycling this one experience over and over and over again over the course of 18 years? It's literally one person. Or what if she's actually using it as a way to manifest this person? Like he's literally been elusive for all these years. And she has been using this pattern, this 3-song pattern with 3 acts to somehow get him. Or maybe it's multiple people, but it could just be one person who she has just been infatuated with for so long.
Any thoughts on that, anyone?
Yeah, I had that same thought, more so that to me it sounds like a middle school crush. And those raw emotions is like, you know, I'm dying, I'm alive, you're dead, we're dead together. It's like all these things that, you know, you have in your room in a matter of 30 minutes.
Why are you saying we're just friends?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like, you know, the words are coming from that place every single time in every single song. And so that was probably, you know, and I don't want to like project on the person, but if we're going to look at that, it's like, okay, well, maybe that was the time where she felt the most alive, right? Like feeling all of those feelings. And
When she was 15, 16.
When she was 15, 16.
When she started her career.
Exactly.
Interesting. Wait, excuse me, some people raise their hands, Andrew. I'm finally on the other side of the special ed classroom. I spent my whole life down in the trenches, not raising my hand, being told to raise my hand, and now I've gone power mad.
Just to play devil's advocate, I do know a lot of girls who like think that every single love is like the one, and that they're obsessed with her, or like she just becomes obsessed, believes it's like the one true love, and kind of has that emotional maturity of like a high schooler. So I could see it being multiple people, you know?
How many people in this room have had a crush on someone they were never really with, either slept with them once or twice or not at all, and then got friend-zoned by them because you feel, in hindsight, you expressed too much too soon? Anybody? Yeah. A less common emotional experience is staying up all night to stand outside a guy's apartment and sing a love song about it like it's a love song, when really it's a song about, Danny, what was the word you used to describe her pattern?
I don't know.
Danny used the word stalker. And
Okay.
Maybe there's also a part of her that likes this pattern, and she herself is also emotionally unavailable and continues to choose partners of that nature to reinforce her committal issues, and because it's safer for her to exist than to actually walk through the door.
There is a definite theme of projection to the point of ludicrousness on many Jepsen songs. Only a couple of the ones that appeared today, because Good Time and fucking Owl City walked in here with fireflies and ate up half my fucking class. There are a number of songs where she just says, why won't you just say this? I can see in your eyes that you want to say this. Why aren't you saying it? All the things you're not saying. And that really lends to your idea that this is a repeated cyclical pattern that involves the choosing of her partners. Now again, the person, Carly Rae Jepsen, I don't know about her dating life. I've not researched it. And if I did, I wouldn't bring it up in this class. But the character, the artistic voice, the Promethean fire that delights her and fills her with music, does appear to have a pattern of projecting on other people the intensity of emotion she feels. Well, what she feels is almost always too much. And that too much, Andrew used the term mania. These types of distortions do have, and this specific behavior pattern does have clinical names. Why are you smiling?
I'm not smiling.
It does have a clinical name. Obsessively raising someone up is the answer to everything, and then when they go away, dropping them down to nothing. But what's interesting is that Carly never drops them down to nothing. In fact, she never wins. She's stuck loving him. Danny Damien.
I was surprised that there's no examples of, because I think everyone has experienced this, of you do idolize somebody, you do put them on a pedestal, and then you get to know them and you go, oh, they're not like that at all. I really don't like them. Who they actually are, you know, I'm done with them. I don't want to.
How many people in here have had that experience? Yeah.
But there's seemingly no examples of that with her.
Well, that's a thing.
There's the organ harvester, but she doesn't even consider.
He's another boy. He's another boy. I would say there's a song called Joshua Tree, as well as a couple of other songs that sort of go like, okay, go do whatever. You do whatever you need to do. I love you. Do whatever you need to do. I don't care. I'll still be here.
Right.
But there are songs that trend more like, now I see the real you, now I'm not interested in you anymore. Except for even those songs usually button.
I've been wondering the whole time if it's more of that she's commenting on obsession, less so than being obsessive herself.
Mm-hmm.
And like what she might be symbolically trying to say, and like repeating this cycle, and perhaps she's using romance as like an object or a symbol of what I think lots of people do through their whole life, which is obsess over something, never get it, and still like be there. Like it could be anything. It could be money, it could be love, it could be this or that or this or that, but we spend our lives in these cycles of kind of clinging to something, and I think that's a very trapped kind of feeling and way to live. And maybe she's commenting on how she's kind of in this cell and this Groundhog Day and this prison of this experience, or whatever character she's singing from. And I don't know exactly what the conclusion would be or what she'd be trying to say through like this kind of symbolic exploration of obsession, but I'd be curious to explore it from that lens.
Nathan?
But so last album Drake, people were bashing him about saying the same things in his last like couple of albums. She's been doing the same thing for 18 years and nobody has said a word besides she's still selling records like, you know, like crazy, right?
Yeah.
And so it is an interesting thing of like if it's something that, and it always, any sort of media, if it's something that is from this golden era of like their innocence, right? We're always comfortable with it. We're always comfortable when it's from there, no matter how many times it's repetitive. But if it's something in our adult and like you repeat it in 5 years from now, it's like, grow up! You know, it's like that sort of thing. And that's when she just said that, I was like, yeah, like that's actually, she is stuck in this cycle. Like, but it's again, I really believe it's a cycle of innocence that is portrayed at like, but when that innocence becomes 18 years of something, it's unsettling, delusional,
So Trinity's making the Bret Easton Ellis versus Patrick Bateman argument. The idea that Carly sings from the point of view of a character as a larger commentary. And what Neeson's saying is actually interesting because Drake, as an artist, has one of the most bizarre thematic run-throughs in terms of self-awareness that I've ever seen. Drake was often called the sensitive rapper, the feelings rapper, the emo rapper. But when you look at his music, if you look at the actual lyrics, he's a pretty big piece of shit. And I say the same thing every single time. You're the best I ever had. I say the same thing to every girl. Drake's saga of heartbreak is almost always tied back into his own desire to have sex with as many women as possible. However, he's in his feelings and constantly being upset when these girls don't do exactly what he says. Now, and behave the way he needs them to. He's heartbroken because they're not being a girl who will fuck him and not cause drama. And that's interesting because when you place that against like Kanye West's relationship to sex, i.e. you bleached your asshole and I got asshole bleach on my t-shirt, it's kind of a whole different world. Drake is someone who's worth investigating because he revisits themes, but I would say Drake is a little bit closer to another artist, one of his main contemporaries, who he was once, I think, in an Apple Music commercial with, Taylor Swift, revisiting the same larger themes in different specific ways. Trinity.
I feel like Carly, okay, you know how we were talking about how it's a little bit spooky, a little bit sinister.
A little bit creepy.
Which is very uncommon for a pop artist. I find it almost giving signs of it being like a warning about what obsession does and what's coming. And maybe it's talking about not only her, but other pop artists like Taylor Swift or rap artists like Drake who come back and they're in this cyclistic world of like, what does that do to the individuals in their life, but also what does that do to our culture? Isn't it weird? Isn't it scary that we can't seem to move forward?
I'll go an inch further on that.
Go for it.
I think you were right, but it's worth knowing I'm the only one pointing this out. Like, her songs, an Act 1 song like Psychedelic Switch, could be portrayed on its own as a euphoric love song. Surrender My Heart could be portrayed as I'm finally ready for a real relationship. I'm out here in the open, here I am. It's the wider context that makes the interesting commentary about love and obsession that you're talking about. But you're right that it does seem a majority of the songs, you know, it's not like she's new to this. There is a warning element.
I'm gonna pivot slightly into theater because what this reminds me of is theater of the absurd and like Waiting for Godot, how like they, it's just showing the existential crisis of life and it does make you uncomfortable. It does repeat.
Themes of Sartre's No Exit.
Yes.
The idea of being endlessly trapped in a cycle. That's very interesting. Mr. Damien.
As a pop artist, you'd think you'd want to sell a worldview that's seductive. But her worldview is reality is isolation, reality associated with the ground being low, the earth. And love is a delusion, like a theme park ride that rises you up to the moon, to the stars, and then the bottom drops out and you fall down.
Mm-hmm.
It's seems really anti-pop star.
Isn't that interesting?
It is.
And that's one of the most interesting things about Carly, if you listen to an album like Kiss, which is really like an overproduced pop album. Like Emotion and Dedicated and Loneliest Time, her later albums really like go crazy into this like wonderful synthy, 80s throwback, vocally driven, too sweet to eat pop. But what's so interesting is Kiss isn't perfect. And with Kiss, more than ever, you're counterpointing dark fucking lyrics with and sad lyrics with like hey da doo I've had it with like a montage of girls trying on clothes. It's really like dazzling the contrast. Neeson?
You said for a pop star you want to sell like, how did you frame it? You said usually pop stars want to sell like a life of seduction, right? Seduction. Dua Lipa, she does that, right? She sells like sadness, and like her song be upbeat. The Barbie song, probably gonna win an Oscar tonight.
No, Billy's got it.
Dua Lipa. I feel like she, one of the biggest songs, and she sells sadness and depression and darkness and but feelings, natural, normal feelings that people can relate to at times, right? On this big pop star level, on this big pop star level. Another thing is, you make there's a whole channel called the ID channel that a lot of women watch, where it's about, that's their main thing. They focus on snapped, like where basically women snap and like kill their husbands because they've done something. And it's about stalking people. It's about all these things that, you will label as an adult as stalking, delusional, all these, whatever it may be. It's a whole market out there for that, right? For adults, it's just labeled differently. And I think what we're looking at now is that, as a pop, you're not going to label it as pop, but you would label it pop if it's over a nice synth and a disguise up to something to make you feel. You said make you feel uncomfortable. Really, with any song, it's something that makes you feel different, and that's what sticks with you, right?
Dude, right. I heard Dua Lipa, her lyrics make you feel uncomfortable. Like, don't come to the club if you don't want to see me dance with another guy.
Exactly.
Like, what? What are you trying to say?
It's like Usher. Usher is probably one of like the most fuckboy songs. Like, but it's like, everybody's singing it and dancing and shit. It's like he's actually talking about cheating on his girl, like in this song, like right now.
I'll go a step further. Another one of those, one of the most iconic pop songs of people aren't thinking about it is, I wonder if she knows I'm hard right now. What song is that lyric from? What song begins with the lyric, I wonder if she knows I'm hard right now?
Why
Girl, you know I can't help it. You're making it hard for me. Yeah, that song that song is about getting a boner during slow dancing, and the girl felt it, and she says, I feel a little bump coming through on you. And this is playing at bar mitzvahs. Yes, you have.
Jagged Edge. Jagged Edge.
You can't deny it.
That's
Making it hard for me. Yeah, there's
I'm so excited. It's like the Pointer Sisters.
No, real
But then, of course, you can go even further. Josie's on a vacation far away. Come around, let's talk it over. So many things that I want to say. You know I like my girls a little bit older. I just want to use your love tonight. It's a song about cheating on your girlfriend with an underage girl, it sounds like, and that's a massive hit. The things about those songs is what they mean is so upfront. The interesting things about the other songs we're listing is that what they mean is kind of hidden by the context of the musicality of the song, which is truly like the ultimate Carly Rae Jepsen thing, is coming on a song like this, and then immediately going, "You don't love me, I am in love with you, I'm gonna kill myself." Like that aspect of her music to me is the most interesting. The fact that there is a too sweet candiness.
Right, like, I'm innocent. Oh, look at me, and rip your head off.
No.
Yeah,
I'm
it's not
in
like
love with you
like
or else.
SZA. No, I'm a badass. I'm
Yeah.
a gangster. Like, of course I'm crazy. It's not like Carly. It's like, oh, poor me. No, I'm just crushing.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is Umbrella. If you listen to Rihanna's Umbrella, if I'm thinking through the lyrics correctly, that's a song I could sing to Ben.
Except it's presented
And I
by
do.
Jay-Z.
And I will now. No.
Yeah, but don't forget that song is introduced. It wasn't just like, oh, Rihanna and her song. No, you literally have to, oh no, come on, Rihanna, where you at?
Yeah.
Little Miss Sunshine.
No
It
clouds in my stone.
Yeah, it starts with that. And like even when she came out and that was because she was presented at MTV like that. Like literally it's like, oh, I'm gonna show you my new star. Like this is all under me, this is me, here's Rihanna. And then she starts singing.
Okay, do we have any closing thoughts, closing ideas?
Whether it's Carly Rae herself, whether it's a character, whatever it may be, but what she's sketched out as far as this person who's stuck in this pattern, if this person was somebody you know, your friend, what would you say to them as advice?
Well, for me personally, as someone who's like done the Hoffman process and been in therapy and had all sorts of insane experiences in relationships and love, you're asking me personally or in general?
I think I'm gonna get more out of it if I ask you personally.
Okay, personally, I've found that the key way to tell how much you like yourself is how much the people you like you. Generally, I've found that when I fall for people or I'm investing in people, a huge component for me, due to lots of negative experiences with having a crush on someone who doesn't like me, or dating someone who's kind of doing it for the plot because I'm wacky, and then ultimately they're like, fuck this guy. Ultimately, I have found how much they express love to you relates right back onto how much you value yourself. So if you have a crush on someone and they really like you, if you don't like yourself that much, that could scare you and like make you kind of run away. And if you have a crush on someone and they kind of don't like you, that validates the feelings you already had that maybe you weren't good enough to be with them. And that leads to idealization because they become this other thing, this unreachable act one, you make me feel like no one else thing. But I have found that both are wrong. That if someone is available to you completely and gives you everything you could want, they're probably faking it or something's wrong with them. You're getting love bombed. If someone is not interested but wants to be your friend to the degree that they continue to engage with you the way he continues to engage with Carly, and then of course ultimately has to cut her off, that feeling of being dumped by someone you were never with, that rejection feeling, there's a crack to that. Some people live for that. Like you were saying, like some people enjoy the pain. And I think the only way to know, the only way to break out of this kind of pattern of idealization, devaluation, is by looking at yourself and your own patterns of who you like. Because 9 times out of 10, if you look back at the people who you liked and you felt this way about, you go, wait a minute, that ended up making me feel really bad that I pursued that. Even though it feels real now, at the end of the day, I can look back at how I felt in the past and see that this is a circle. And 9 times out of 10, that breaks me right the fuck out of a big crush. And you know, I have more extreme experiences in relationships and with my exes than most people, or maybe not, maybe just more publicized, but I definitely have found, Danny, that the type of relationship Carly Rae Jepsen has in her music leads only to pain and suffering. And going into something knowing that and seeing it not just as a theme in real life, but also a theme in fiction, repeated again and again. The obsessional stalker who's rejected, the nerd who loves the hot girl, the dorky girl who wants to be with the cool, handsome, fantasy hero. All these things circle back into themselves as, well, I wouldn't want someone like me. I want someone who will make me a better, bigger version of who I am. And that is not a healthy place to come at love from, in my experience. Not to say it's ever worked out great for me, that is okay, final thoughts. I think we're, one more
Sorry,
turn.
last thing. I was looking at the moon, the door, and the window. And I think it's interesting that it kind of matches with the acts of like the moon is the fantasy and the dreaming, the door of the escape, and the window of the longing and wishing.
Wow.
Oh la la! Beautiful, brilliant. We can talk in abstracts all day about why these themes appear in this artist's music. We can talk in abstracts. The thing about the fucking pattern is it's not abstract. Moon, window, door, light, dream. These are not coincidences. This is not an artist who doesn't know what they're doing. Perhaps they don't know why they're doing it. Maybe it's a relationship she experienced that inspired Dear You, that inspired her first songs, and she found a winning formula. Maybe these are just the things that inspire her, right? But the fact that she has done this for 18 years is an auteur level, unprecedented achievement. And I'm so glad you could all recognize that with me. And also I want to say, how fucking weird is she saying moon, window, door? She's saying it again and again and again. Why does she keep saying that on all these songs? And fucking is she always getting dumped? Why is it like this? Thank you all for coming to class. Please turn your assignments into the front of the class. And please, if you have time, join us for